Welcome, dear viewers. It's such a great pleasure to see you. I am so excited to see you, Michelle, and I'm excited to introduce Michelle to you guys because for most of you, you know me from the crypto space, and we talk about crypto things and financial technology and all these things. But I know Michelle from a different world. I know Michelle from the from the industry that elevates people through empowering them to physical well-being, to empowering them kind of a transcending physically and emotionally and spiritually. And so Michelle is the co-founder of Paleo Effects. And what I love also about Michelle is that she's an amazing female leader, but she also amazing co-founder with her husband. And I can relate, Michelle, to that so much because me and Justin co-founded a lot of things. And I think it's such a great thing to be able to work together and highlight each other. And what you do with Paleo Effects is amazing. It is there that I discovered lucid lights, which, by the way, and all my biohacking tools have increased so much. And just overall, with us launching our Keto Credible company, you guys have been all so supportive. Everybody in the industry, it's like you're a big family. And when I think about this big family, you are a part of it. You're always so shining, so beautiful, so strong and feminine and kind. You're so kind and strong, right? And so welcome, thank you so much for being here. Welcome for sharing your story. So first thing I want to ask, and I'm just gonna ask this and then we'll chat about other things. When are you guys doing Paleo Effects next time?
So we will be doing Paleo Effects April 23rd through the 25th of 2021. That will be the live show, but we are currently working on putting together our virtual event, and that'll be in November. So we'll have the dates set pretty soon. We have finally we got it kind of like narrowed down to the platform because our event is so dynamic. Any virtual platform wouldn't do, like we couldn't just do our event on Zoom. It wouldn't work. So we've found a virtual platform. So we're working out all the details now. So we will be delivering that sometime in November, and we should have those dates set probably within the next couple of weeks for sure. So
that's amazing. I think that when I think about what is happening right now in the world, and I think that you guys bring so many solutions to people. And by the way, Paleo Effects is it's not a paleo diet. It's a lifestyle. It's a approach to your body, to your energy, to your mind, and kind of bringing it all together in a holistic way. And you guys always bring the leaders and the pushers of frontier in all those verticals. And right now people need that the most. The foods are people eating bad foods that making them sick, bring inflammation to their bodies, and they don't know what to believe. They've never probably meditated. They don't know that there's such a tools like, for example, lucid lights, to where you can have instant transcendental meditation. Michelle, I came to your event and you had a VIP booth, lucid lights, and I did it once, and then I went back into line and I did it again, and then I did it again. And then Alex Schaffman, which also an amazing person, and he does wonderful thing. He was there with me going over and over. And we were like, after that, we even came back the next day, 1 hour before, so we can get like a longer section. And there are other tools, right? All this, I don't even know the names of all the leaders. You have like the stars of the universe in biohacking and psychohacking, which means that giving tools to your mind to optimize and habitualize your behaviors to benefit and get you to what you desire. So I would like to ask you why you're doing this and how did you arrive to this?
So let's see. There's a couple of backstories to how we started Paleo Effects, but the main backstory is our daughter Brittany was killed in a car accident 11 and a half years ago. And she was killed 3 days before her 23rd birthday and a week before her college graduation. She was a music and worship ministry major and planned to be a minister and work in the mission field. She had just returned from 3.5 months in South Africa on a mission trip, but right before she was killed. And so we held her first memorial service on what would have been her 23rd birthday, and there were about 700 people in attendance. And they had a receiving line for us, and we stood in this receiving line, and everybody stood in line to pay their respects and, you know, about Brittany. And we heard over and over all night long how Brittany had changed their lives. And it was very profound. It was not like, oh, she changed my life. It was, she changed my life because she said this. She changed my life because she did that. She changed my life because she took me here and showed me this or did this with me or whatever. And so it was very, very profound that she had changed all of these people's lives in a very positive way. So, you know, by the end of the night, we had decided that we needed to carry on her legacy. And so we really struggled with what that was going to look like, because her gifts were music and worship, ministry, and all of those things, gift of prophecy, preaching, you know, those were not our gifts. So we really struggled with what that would look like, because we didn't really know how to carry on her legacy without doing what she did. So it took us a little while. And then fast forward to 2011, we were at the inaugural Ancestral Health Symposium, which for your viewers may or may not know about it. It's a very decidedly academic conference that discusses the theory and science and evidence behind the paleo lifestyle. And so what we realized, we were there and we were literally sitting on the runway at LAX, coming back to Austin. And I was telling Keith, you know, it would be really great if they would do like demonstrations where they showed people how to do, you know, some of the movements, some of the exercise, that type of thing, so that they were getting proper. At the time, Keith and I were partners in a very small but growing boutique style gym. And so we had lots of clients that were wanting transformations, and, you know, they were coming to us to be personally trained by Keith, and because he could teach them the proper exercise. So I was like, why aren't they telling people how to do that? Why aren't they showing people how to cook? Because I'm also a chef, a trained chef. So I was like, they need demonstrations to show people how to cook. And Keith said, well, it's an academic conference. They're not going to do that. This is, you know, about the science. And the thing is that we love the science, we geek out on it and everything. But at the end of the day, the majority of people, particularly like our clients, they are happy the science exists, but unless they know how to use that science in their daily life, then they don't really care. It's irrelevant to them. So, you know, just at the end of the day, they wanted to know, what do I eat? What do I lift? How do I exercise? What is it that I need to do so that I can be healthy? You know, whatever on the science, but how does that actually work? So that's when Keith and I decided that we were going to be the ones doing this conference. So we launched the conference about 6.5 months later, actually on our anniversary. And so and then we just haven't looked back. The thing is that at the end of the day, we were really, this made an impact in my life. It had tremendously changed my health. And I had all kinds of health issues it was about 2005. And I became paleo in 2005. Keith was paleo in 2004. It took him about a year to convince me to try it. And so I am a trained chef. My specialty before I was in paleo was Italian. So I made my own pizza dough, my own pasta, all of that stuff. So everything was very fresh, but it was refined carbohydrates. And so I was constantly sick. I had been diagnosed with IBS, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. I had been incorrectly diagnosed with early onset rheumatoid arthritis, which is a false diagnosis. And then I was sick every single time I ate. And
how old are you back? Like, you're naming all these sicknesses, and like I don't know how old you are, but you look so young. So, and it was many years ago.
I was 39.
Wow.
So
and you already had all that bouquet.
Mm-hmm. I had a lot of stuff going on. I had really bad lower back pain. My knees were swelling. It was really pretty awful. And so I literally, all of it was resolved in 3 weeks, going paleo. So and what was really interesting too, I wasn't trying to, but I ended up losing all this weight. And so initially when I went paleo and I got healthy and I was feeling good, I was really pissed because I had to give up all this food that I loved in order to be healthy. And so I was in this kind of state of denial. Like at some point I was going to figure out how to put this back in my diet and that I would be okay and I would be healthy or whatever. And so I was a food writer at the time for many websites, and I was doing recipe development and that type of thing. Well, I kept doing all of that, even though I was paleo, even though it had changed my health, I was still doing all of that because I had this denial going on. And so what happened is our son played baseball and they had been out of season for about 12 weeks. So we hadn't seen all of these people, all of the parents from the team, we hadn't seen them in 12 weeks. And so we were at our son's first baseball game of the season. And at this point I had been paleo about 6 weeks or so. And so all of my symptoms, everything, how I felt was all completely resolved. I just felt great. But one thing that I didn't notice was how much weight I lost. I didn't have any, because, when you are on a regular standard American diet, the SAD diet, you yo-yo, particularly women do. So I had every size in my closet from size, 6 all the way up to size 14. And so, I would move back and forth all the time and I never really noticed it. It would just happen because, maybe I would get on a kick and start really working out and really watching what I was eating and all of that stuff. So I would lose weight, but then I would go right back up. So it didn't occur to me. Well, we show up at this game and everybody's just like going, oh my God, you look amazing. Like you've lost so much weight. Your skin looks so healthy. Your skin's glowing. What did you do? And I hadn't done anything. I was not dieting because I didn't even think about doing this for to lose weight. I had done it to feel better. And in the process, I did both. And then that was like the moment the light bulb went off for me and I realized, oh shit, this is information that could actually help people. Yeah. So, and Keith jokes all the time that was the day that a paleo evangelist was born, because if something really works for me, I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. That's how I am. But I didn't recognize that moment until then, when people started talking about, oh my gosh, you look so healthy. Your skin looks so glowy, all of that stuff. And that I had lost weight without trying. So it was at that point that I became paleo became very important for me to spread the word. And I really wanted to empower people, because at that point I realized that the Western medical establishment was doing nothing to help people. And a lot of times, not any faults of their own. Doctors are very well meaning. They get into medicine because they want to help people. It's because it's the system that they're in. And the system that they were trained in is a system that we needed.
They try to fix broken parts instead of preventing parts from breaking, right? So if it's a car, there are mechanics that you go to right as your brakes are broken. You don't come to them for maintenance. That's I look at that.
The whole system was set up 70 plus years ago when our problem at that time was actually communicable disease. And we've already we beat all of that stuff. So we don't need that system anymore, but that's the system we currently have. And it's a very failed medical system because, like you said, it doesn't prevent you from getting sick. What it does is it maintains your sickness and maintains your disease, because now if you come in with some kind of symptom, whatever, we usually write you a prescription and you're in and out in 5 minutes with a prescription. And that's not true health, because you're masking symptoms, not actually getting to the core root cause of symptoms, which is vitally important. And that's one of the reasons why and nutrition is the basis of all of that. So
what's interesting to me is that what you said about it's been designed almost 100 years ago, right?
Yeah, true.
True to almost all of our infrastructure around us. We live in outdated infrastructures where they're just not caught up to current reality. It's interesting when I think about health. You know, and people talk about this and that. And what we learned about corn and being do the cornstarch and do all this, you know, things and packaging food, I mean, it was a part of innovation. And we did not understand that it is not good to feed our cows corn, right? Or and grain, because it actually hurts their stomach and you have to give them antibiotics. And now you have stressful cows that are sick and all their life they're just suffering. So you're eating like stress hormones.
That, and yeah, and you're consuming all of that. Yeah.
Right. And it's like eating a happy meat is better than, you know, eating a stressful meat. But I think that that's it, and it goes to all of it, including financial industry. I love that you had this moment of it worked for me and it changed me so drastically that I have to share it with the world. I can relate to that with ketosis because now I do kind of a keto, paleo, cyclical diet. I like being in ketosis. I love metabolizing my endogenous ketones. You know, that's what I'm flying. But like water fasting and all that, like all the biohacking, internal endogenous biohacking tools, man, they're just so good. Yeah. And I can remember too, you know, all my life people thought about that I'm like driven and I've always been an entrepreneur, but inside of me, I kind of had to work extra hard to get myself going and this energy and whatever. And, you know, so just my mom got diagnosed with cancer. And so Justin has PhD in chemistry and also he read all the researches and he said, honey, how about we do this twice a year, you know, the 3-week ketogenic diet, allow our liver to, you know, to normalize, allow our body to normalize. And I've never been big, so like a weight has not been, you know, like an issue for me. I went from zero to 6, like you said, you know, that's like, and people thought it's not a big deal, but like 0 to 6 is a lot. And then, you know, back and whatever, if I'm super fit and but the energy, and I remember that, and we did it without any ketones. We just did it hardcore, like tough it out. So I remember waking up and I'm like, I have unlimited energy. 3 days after I started ketosis, and you're right. It's like looking in a mirror and seeing it and being inspired. So that's when we met David Gonzalez a bit later, and he said, you have a factory, like your family has a factory that produces you know, supplements, and you like scientists and you live in this thing, you have to make it for people. And it was interesting to see that there's a whole world. So through you and David Gonzalez, because David Gonzalez obviously brought us, I discovered that there is a whole world of people that dedicate their life to doing it, and they do it with passion. And there's all these technologies and all these approaches, not just through meditation and this like powering through, you know, but like they're tools, they're hacks that allow us to be better. And I feel better now that I'm 40, Michelle, than when I was 30. I do. I think I look better.
I can tell you at 39 and 40 and now 54 that I feel way better now than I did when I was 18.
Yeah, the same. It's like I feel better I have ever felt in my life, and I feel so confident in my body, and I can feel my cells. If I eat the crappy food and I indulge, I do that, but you know what? I feel the pain in my body right away. My body tells me, hey, no. You like to live in clean ways. These Cheeto chips are not okay, darling. Right? And the reason I'm saying it is because I remember that you said that you were so mentally attached.
Yes.
To that you will go back. Because I think that people think that there are these diets, and these are the diets that give you yo-yo. I believe that when you do paleo, when you allow yourself to go into ketosis, which is kind of like a different metabolic rate stage, right? And do other things, your body stops, right? Like you just stop wanting any of that garbage, and then eventually it actually tells you how it really works by showing you that it is poison, you know. Yeah. So I know that you participate and you inspire so many women, and I so appreciate that. And I follow you on Facebook. I see the things you say. I don't always participate, but I do follow you, and you're such an inspirational spirit. And I think to women, it's so important. I would love for you to share an advice for women who are in a position to where they want to take steps toward becoming more independent, maybe thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, because you're such a successful entrepreneur and you do it with balance. So what would be your advice?
Well, my advice is to do what you love. I would say follow your passion, whatever you're passionate about. If particularly like with the fact that we did Paleo Effects, I was passionate about helping people become autonomous with their health, and then understanding that it wasn't just their right, but it was their responsibility to take control of their own health. That just can't be handed to anybody else, not even your doctor, because at the end of the day, your doctor means well, but your doctor doesn't have time to be your advocate. That's just the reality of particularly the system that we're currently in. So my recommendation to anybody that's looking to start something new or to become an entrepreneur is to follow your passion, because if you are following your passion and you are doing something that you truly love and it's helping people and it's doing something to change the world for the better, to have some positive impact and contribution in the world, money will come. That just comes. But one of the things that Keith and I have is a program called Soulpreneur FX, and Soulpreneur is about what that takes for you to become an entrepreneur that follows your passion and does what you do to change the world, because we have different KPIs than somebody that's just looking to sell the next widget. So there's a big difference between the two. And I think right now, especially in this day and age, especially with what's happening right now, is that people are looking for meaning. They're looking for fulfillment. They're looking for something that's more, that actually will do something positive in the world. We have so much negative that's currently happening. And so when you when you feel like what I want, what I need to do, what my life needs to matter, is that you're following your passion and you're doing something that ultimately contributes and impacts humanity very positively. And that is the one thing that both myself and Keith constantly measure everything that we do based on how we impact and contribute to the world. And so it's across the board, we're going to do all of those things that are going to be, those are the things that we look for first before we look for money, because money just will come. That's just not something that's ever been part of my the way that I do things, and not the way that Keith does things either. And so we did start Paleo Effects as a movement, as a mission, as a vision. And then it turned into a business ultimately a few years down the road, but it was not, that was not our intention with it. So it was very successful from day one. Fundamentally, not financially, but fundamentally, it was very successful from day one, because what we were doing was impacting the world positively. So the thing is that once you figure that piece out, then you can do all the business stuff behind it, and then that's where the money will come. The thing is we didn't do the business stuff until down the road. So if I had it to do over again, I would have set it up differently now, knowing what I know now, but I didn't care about the money. What I was most concerned about was for Paleo Effects to pay for itself and break even.
Yeah.
I didn't care about any of the other stuff. And so my whole thing was, I want to deliver something that's going to change people's lives, period. And I just never was worried about the money until like 2014 was the first time I actually was speaking with Darren Hardy, who is, for a lot of you might know who he is. He was the former editor of Success Magazine, and I had an opportunity to meet him privately. And he was talking to both Keith and myself, and he was asking us about our business, and we told him about it. And he said, well, is it successful? And we said, well, it's fundamentally successful. And he said, well, what about financially? And we said, well, we don't really care about the money as long as it breaks even. That's kind of like what's most important to us. And because we're really about, impacting lives, changing people's lives, touching as many people. And he said, can I tell you something and you just like be open to it and just hear me? And we were like, sure. And he said, okay, now I just hear me on this. He said, it is great that you're mission motivated, that you're not money motivated. He said, that's great. He said, but just hear me and be open to this. He said, if you make more money, you can touch more people. And we were like, oh, that had never occurred to us. Like, we never really thought about that piece of it, was that, oh, if we make more money, we can hire more people, so we touch more people. If we make more money, we can do more advertising and touch more people. If we make more money, we can have more impact and more reach because we have the money to do that. And that was life-changing for us, because we went back and changed all of our businesses at that time based on that, because everything that we do is based on contribution and impact to the world. And how positive is it? And are we bringing new people into the fold to help them understand and realize that their health is their number one priority? It should be their number one priority. And how do we help educate those people to know that that's number one for them? And they need, above all else, is that their health is their biggest asset. So we changed everything, and PaleoFX actually became profitable in 2016, which it took a while, but the thing is that we had been, we had just been kind of in our own way because we didn't care about the money. So now PaleoFX was in debt the first year. It got out of debt the second year and just broke even. And then same thing so for 2012, it was in debt. 2013, it got out of the 2012 debt, but it didn't make any money. And then 2013, 2014, 2015, and all of those years that it just broke even. And then 2016, we finally made money.
Wow, it's amazing.
I didn't get a paycheck, though I was working full time for PaleoFX. I didn't get a paycheck until 2016. There was no money in PaleoFX for me to get paid, but I was working more than full time. And in fact, I had a catering company that I ended up having to put on the back burner because PaleoFX took too much of my time. So I ended up losing that money. But the thing was, we just knew this was the mission and the vision, and it carried on Brittany's legacy of changing people's lives. So we've had, tens of thousands of people through the doors at PaleoFX, not to mention our online community and everything. So we've changed tens of thousands of people's lives. So her legacy and what she did to change people's lives gets to live on. And that was our whole purpose of doing all of it to begin with.
And it's so beautiful, I think, that she was able to leave her energy in the universe and probably allow you to change your life for better, because maybe and so many people's lives, and it's just such a beautiful story. It makes me think like you can always do good, and you never know how much effect it's going to bring to people's lives. And I think also another thing, when I think about it, time is not something that's given to us, and taking advantage, like really living in the moment and loving and giving allows you to be able, I think, to receive, because I do believe that her energy is connected through this, right? And so in my world, a design would be such that your energy expands in such a way to where it imprints, and through this mission you kind of imprinting it into bettering the whole world. And it's so beautiful. You said something, I think, that is so important for conscious entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who come to I call it cause-specific entrepreneurs. So it's people that are driven by cause, and there's this bias. And also, I think it's almost kind of like a mental barrier to where they believe that they just need to be able to break even, to just get a little bit done, and I don't care about money. And I think when they say, I don't care about the money, and they feel bad saying that, I do care about the money. And that's such a beautiful point. I hope this point inspires you, consciousness entrepreneurs, to understand that money gives you more ability to do better. Money is going to either go to those that are not going to do better or those that are doing better. And the more you think about it, the better it is. And so in the time of doubt, when you feeling that subconscious or even conscious thought of, oh, am I being greedy, and like I'm making a for profit thing, and more money, and how does it work? Just remember that your money is the way you vote. You get the attention of people, and so get a good attention, get more money, go and think about the business structure. It's a fun game if you do it consciously. I think that being a business owner is one of the blessings you can have, because it's one of the best board games you play, right? It's a strategic board game. And if your winning counts through impacting other people's lives to better, well, what's a better life to lead than doing?
Oh, I agree. We had so much, we had so many issues and kind of an ick factor around making money with Paleo FX, and well, with all of our businesses, not just Paleo FX, with our, our ID Life Wellness business, with our gym business, with everything. We had a real ick factor around making money. And then it really, after talking to Darren Hardy and him saying that, it all of a sudden it occurred to me that there's probably no better way to make money than to help people get their health back, or to maintain their health. And so I was thinking to myself, well, doctors make a lot of money. They don't care. They don't, that part doesn't bother them, because they're for most of them, they're trying really hard to help people. So at the end of the day, I realized that what I do for a living and how I help people, I deserve to get paid for doing that work. I deserve to get paid for that. And I thought really before that I didn't, that, it needed to be done for free. And that's not necessarily true. And the thing is that it's something that, and that was actually a mental block that I needed to get through on my own. And that I also had issues around money that were just constructs that I needed to get through. Because at the end of the day, all money is energy. And value of money is given by humans. And so when you are giving your energy, you deserve to receive energy back for the value of what you have given in your energy. That's all the energy is an energy exchange. That's all money is. And so when you think about the time and the energy that you expend to do things in the world, particularly if you're an entrepreneur or something like that, really think about the fact that your energy is worth value. And so you need to receive value back for the exchange of that energy. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know that there's a lot of people that get caught up in the, money is evil. Money is not evil. People can use money for evil. That's definitively, but money inherently has no emotion. It has no nothing to it. It doesn't have any wants of its own. So it can't be evil. So money is not evil. It's an energy, and how you expend that energy or how you spend it, that's what makes it, whether or not it's what you would call good or bad. I tend to think that judgment on any side is probably not helpful to the individual. Right. So I kind of hold everything here, and so you'll have good here and evil here, and we just need to hold all of it in and integrate it, and then release it, because it's all energy. So that's
I agree. It's so you're right, and interesting, right? Because if you think about it, if you believe that money is evil, the only thing you can do to change that is to make more money and turn money into not evil, if you want it to be not evil. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's kind of like one of those things, because people that use the energy for bad things want others to think that, it's inaccessible and it's a bad thing, because then they can do the things that they want to do. So I would like to ask, so this, obviously there's a paleo, and there's diet, there's a food intake lifestyles that allow us to maintain our physical body, and thus our emotional body and our energetic body. And I believe that even eventually it allows us to start looking for different things and expanding our consciousness naturally. I think expanded consciousness is a natural process of you centering your body and learning and becoming healthy and one with within like clarity of your cells, your mind, and everything. So, but for a lot of people, it's very hard. So you said follow your soul, and then I broke through these biases. These things people think as a construct that they will never be able to do in their life. And so I would love to see if you could recommend some maybe apps or technical tools or something that would get people to a point to where that the hardest thing we can do is to go in, is to deconstruct everything, right? That serves and that does not serve, deconstruct, be able to identify what does not serve, right? And like you said, process it and let it go. I mean, these are huge steps, which are usually for most people are just an abstract idea of somebody saying something that they don't know how to get there. And so you have such an amazing network and access to all the leaders in the industry. Could you please share how you can actually use technology to maybe get yourself closer to the state of mind that you're describing?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that actually that I use personally that help. So I do a lot of meditation. So I do meditation in the morning and in the evening. So I bookend my days. And then the other thing is with both of those, I usually try to read something very uplifting and very positive, because that kind of gets your day set for a positive day. And going into sleep, because we are in the astral plane during sleep, and our things can get very distorted. So if you watched a really very difficult movie to watch, or something that was very violent, or something that was very negative, or what have you, particularly for somebody like me who's an empath, I would go into sleep and bring that into my sleep time. And then I would not sleep very well, and I would actually probably have nightmares, all of those things. So be very careful what you put into your mind, particularly at the beginning of your day and particularly at the end of your day. So those two things are very important for me. I bookend my days so that everything in that space is positive. And so I try to limit the number of things that are negative. I do not watch TV. I have not watched TV in 16 years. I do watch, I will watch documentaries.
Gaia. You watch Gaia.
I watch Gaia.
I watch Gaia too. I love Gaia.
I love Gaia. Yeah, so I watch Gaia. That's about the only thing that I actually watch. I used to watch sports. Keith and I both used to watch sports. We don't watch sports anymore. We are believe very much that what you put into your mind is training you, indoctrinating you, and hypnotizing you. So we really believe you've got to be very careful about what you put into your brain. So, and into your body, basically. So we put in lots of positive stuff. We put in a lot of, we put a lot of time into, we do a lot of plant medicine work. So we work with people in the plant medicine space, and that's a lot of interior work to release some of these constructs that we all have in our heads around a lot of things that are particularly what's going on right now. Is there's a lot of constructs that you need to dismantle and get rid of, because they don't serve the individual, and they don't serve humanity as a whole. So we've done a lot of that work over the last 6 years, and we continue to do that work, and we are actually moving more into that space. Because at the end of the day, I believe once everything that's happening right now ends within the next probably 12 months, we're going to see that a whole lot of people need a lot of healing, that there's going to be a lot of trauma, there's going to be a lot of stuff that really needs to be deconstructed and put back together in a positive way that serves humanity. So we're moving far more into that space. But we just, I can tell you, like, we do a lot of biohacking. So I do wear like an Aura ring, and I do wear a Garmin. I do a lot of tracking things, and not because I'm obsessed with it, but I track things because now that I have gotten myself in tuned and embody again, because let's face it, most humans are completely out of their bodies now. They totally work in the brain space. They do not work in the body space.
And they live in the past or the future. They either in regret or they scared, right?
Well, I don't even mean that. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about that they just don't even connect to the signals that their body is sending them, because now that stuff's cut off, mainly because our food system is so corrupted. Our food system is so toxic. Our waterways are toxic. Our air is toxic. All of these things are happening. So if you are not mindful about what you put into your body and you don't start listening to your body, because your body is the ultimate diagnostic system. It will tell you immediately when there is a problem. So when you start getting things clean, putting things into your body that are clean, that includes your thoughts, because at the end of the day, what I believe paleo truly is obviously a lifestyle, but it's really about removing all the toxins from your body. It's about removing the toxic foods, the toxic chemicals that you clean your house with, the toxic chemicals that you put on your body. Women, do you know that you put on, if you're wearing conventional makeup, if you're using any kind of conventional cosmetics, you're putting on anywhere from 72 to 168 toxic ingredients on your skin, which is the largest organ of your body. So you're putting all of these toxins on your body, in your home. You've got a lot of us have pets. We're feeding our pets toxic stuff as well. So we're the only ones that have animals that have diabetes and heart disease and all of these diseases of modernity, which is really ridiculous. It's because we feed them the same garbage we eat. And so all of these things, it also includes toxic people, toxic thoughts. If you have people in your life that are toxic, even if they are family, even if they are your parents, even if they are your grandparents, your brother, your sister, your cousins, your whatever, these people, you need to love them from afar. You need to love them, have, compassion for them, be all of that, but you don't have to go have lunch with them.
You don't have to sacrifice your space and integrity just because of
family. That. Yeah. So that is a construct. This is a construct. We undo when we start recognizing that when that does not serve the individual, it does not serve humanity. So when you stop being triggered by somebody that's in your space, that somebody maybe you're related to, that's all part of the same system, is that you need to get rid of everything that's toxic to this organism, because at the end of the day, this organism being healthy and being of sound mind and body is important to all of humanity. Each one of us is important to humanity. Every single individual on this planet is important to humanity as a whole. There is not a single person here that is a mistake. There's not a single person here that's not needed. There's not a single person that's not wanted. There's not a single person that shouldn't be here. We all have a role here. And so at the end of the day, each person needs to take care of making sure that their organism is completely healthy and of sound mind and body, because you are absolutely 1000% important to the whole of humanity. And so that's really important for people to understand. So you need to do the things that are not serving you, get rid of them. That's the best thing you can do for yourself and for humanity. And so even, like I said, the relationships that you have that may be family, you can love those people from afar. You don't have to sit down and have lunch with them, but you can love them from afar, have compassion for them, and still not have them in your life, because those are the things that are really important for us to do and to take care of, is to make sure this organism is happy and healthy and of sound mind, because all of humanity needs you. All of us.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that one of the things that I find interesting for interconnectedness, because people often think like, well, but I love my mom and I need to take care of my mom, and or dad or sister or aunt or whatever, or friend or husband or ex-husband or child, whatever. I think that if you realize your personal space and you realize the importance of every person, of value of every life, you start having compassion and for them as well, to where you don't feel guilty, and you can say, look, I will have a lunch, but for us to move forward, I expect that our relationship will continue on these terms, because I otherwise will not be available to continue this relationship. And I think it's such a genuine way to be. I believe that in a world with these interpersonal connections, people often end up being like passive aggressive. You know, it's like, I'm gonna go and suffer and finding suffering, and then going and, excuse my language, bitching, okay, about behavior of those that they love or don't love even, right? And I think that first step is to identify, this is my space. I will respond to positive messaging. And if somebody who you love sits there and constantly complains, and you say, oh, I identify that it is not positive messaging and I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable about it, I think saying that, excuse me, I'm going to interrupt this right now, but I feel that XYZ, and I would appreciate if we could change this conversation into a different subject. And I think it's so shattering, because, and I'm saying this because, Michelle, I use it and I've used it, and it was very natural to me when I was a child. I did lose connectivity to a lot of things myself between the age maybe 20 to 30 something, right? Like probably 30. But as I've learned after 30 that, oh, these are the tools that I remember having. These are very useful tools. And for me, my personal life and my work life and my business life, it excelled dramatically, because at this point, I can identify a negative messaging, right? And I can, if it's something that just people complaining, I can just put a shield up. I let my consciousness to go into different non-judgmental space. I usually think, oh, they probably are confused and maybe communicating some kind of need to each other and just are lost. So send them some compassion for the miscommunicating with each other and move on. But with the people that are in my world, it's been amazingly effective to just clearly identify the boundary. And I feel that my personal life thrives through relationships, because I am so genuine, I'm so honest. I am not gonna go and say something and be, I'll say it right there, like, oh, whoa, well, that's no. Yeah. And I think that hopefully this also helps you, dear viewers, to understand that you matter, and as much as you matter, it's your space. It's important that you feel and you feel centered, and you don't judge and spend your energy on judging and sacrificing and doing all these things that take away, but think of, how do I keep my space, and how do I share love and kindness, or at least neutrality. You can always be neutral to somebody. And I think I found that it's like best spot to be. If I can be neutral, Michelle, when I'm water fasting for 6 days, that's neutrality, right? Because it's just such a center, and you see everything, and you feel, and work and productivity and connectivity with people. And I feel like that filter goes away, that what do you call it, like disrupt now, when disruption, almost like in the vision, right? Like the illusion goes away with that, because it's like you can see through it and it's clear. But yeah, I do love all kinds of tools. I've been using a lot of meditation, like with earphones. One of the things that I love, as the pandemic happened, we have a greenhouse. I turned it into a lighthouse. So I took all the plants out, and like, we're in Texas, I have 2.5 acres of land. I'm gonna grow a garden in the garden. I'm going to put my crystals in there and all my treasures from I went to India and travel all over the world. And Michelle, I just did self-programming. Like, I would find the meditation. And of course, now I consider myself quite a psychonaut, and and really indigenous kind of a, person who, like, I believe I can expand my consciousness nearly the same way endogenously as exogenously.
Yeah.
And that authentic experience, to me, I value it kind of more. If I can really do the alkaline breathing and get myself launched and align my spine and let my energy, like, if I put earphones on and it programs me that I'm flying to another planet and working some kind of energy with these crystals, I mean, I'm seeing that, right? Like this, and it's unbelievable. And then I open my eyes and I'm like, cool beans, right? And I think that we live in such a world of abundance, and I appreciate what you're doing. And there is a huge expansion in what you're doing all over the world. And I think people are looking to you, and I think the entrepreneurs are looking to you and Keith, and seeing, this is a good thing. There is a network, there's family, and I love that you guys are doing the soulpreneur. Can you tell me more about that? I would love to share more about that.
So Soulpreneur is a program that we created a few years ago to help people who really wanted to go into entrepreneurship, but wanted to do something different than just sell like the next widget. They weren't worried about money. They were wanting to have impact and contribution. So we talk about all the KPIs and the way that you go about doing soulpreneurship. And then we have, in the past, not always, we don't have to do it this way, but we have paired it with power plant medicines. Because the impact in the power plant medicine space can be so substantial because of the neuroplasticity in that space. So we have worked with a number of entrepreneurs in that space and in being able to really expand and create true abundance in their businesses and in their life and health and relationships. And then there's also a piece of it that Keith and I talk about where we help coach couples that are in business together and what that looks like when you have complete honesty and you have the ability to really truly accept your partner for who they are and recognize that you are partners, you're both on the same team, and helping to undo sometimes some of the triggers that you might have. So one of the tools that we use, and we use this not just me and Keith, we use this in our business at Paleo, we use this across the board. I recommend this for almost everybody that I come across, is we work with a woman named Barbara Ditlow who works in human design. And in human design, it really truly helps you understand your underlying operating system. And so my underlying operating system, there were things that I do that were really triggers for Keith, and vice versa, things that he did that were triggers for me. And so we sat down with Barbara, she went through all of that, and she said, okay, these are the things about Keith that are not negotiable. They're just part of the way that he's made, and he can't change them because it's what
that way. That's what makes him him, right?
Right. It's exactly what makes him him. And so you cannot take it personally. It has nothing to do with you. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was like really like this real great moment of actually having permission to be who we are without the other one taking it personally. And she did the same thing for Keith, said, these are the things about her. You cannot take them personally. She can't do anything. And then she said, now these are all the things that are negotiable. These are all the things that you both can negotiate on and collaborate on and cooperate on. These are all the things that here, and these are the things that, and one of the things that we really recognized was that nothing about Keith has anything to do with me. Like that he makes a choice of, or that he moves and operates in. It's not about me. So I don't need to take it personally. I don't need to be triggered by it. And so there were things that, I was like, oh, okay, now I really truly understand that as individuals, all we are here is an expression of each other. That's it. So he's another expression of me. You're another expression of me. Everybody on our team is an expression of each other. And so when you recognize that and you realize how connected we all are and that we are just expressions of each other, and that each expression has a right and a place and has got an importance to being here, because without all of our expressions, none of us exist. And so it was really this very, very powerful time for us to come together. So we coach people on relationship in business to be able to stay committed to the vision of the business and the vision of the relationship, and of being able to keep those separate or together at times. So it really depends. So it's very an ebb and flow kind of thing. And so once we recognized all of that, our marriage was like soared. It was such a difference in our relationship. And quite honestly, we were on the brink of a divorce back in 2015. So, and it totally changed our marriage. And I'm sorry, 2014. So we've been doing all of this work for the last 6 years, and it really paid off and made a huge difference in our relationship. And so we really want to help others, especially people who are married to each other, really have a passion for something together, and they want to work together, but they're worried about that relationship and what that's going to look like. I can tell you, I worked with my former husband, my first husband. It was a complete disaster. I would have never recommended anybody ever do that again. And then here we were, me and Keith were right back in it. But it was a difference in the relationship and in the respect of who we are as humans and who we are as expressions of each other. So that was a big difference for us. And so so we just like to help people, kind of navigate all of those waters. And so like I said, we can do that with the aid of power plant medicines or not. It doesn't matter either one, because we have a system for helping people along those lines either way. So
for those who do not know, what is power plant medicines?
So these are going to be your psychedelics, psychoactive plants that are used to be able to expand consciousness and expand your awareness.
Like Changa, ayahuasca.
Yeah. To your direct connection to your divine higher self. So yes, we love that work, and we love what it's done to transform not just our lives, but a lot of people's lives that we're around and that we work with, and we work with quite a number of people in that space. So
yeah, it definitely is a life-changing experience and a profound. It's definitely not a recreational experience at all. And what I love about
this is the thing. At the end of the day, it is work. It is not easy. It is a very difficult decision to start doing this kind of work, because it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of looking at who you are at your core, seeing, because this is the deal. We have light and we have shadows. All of us have all of it. The thing is that what we do as humans is, oh, I'm all of this, I'm all the light, but I'm not any of the dark. I'm all the good, but I'm not any of the evil. And that's not true. We are all of it. And
well, in the dark, you see lightness, right? Like in the dark, you see the light.
Right. But the thing is that at the end of the day, the only way for us to transcend as humans, to ascend this human trap, is for us to integrate all of it, the light and the dark, the shadow, and the good parts, or what we judge as good.
Yeah, it's not a good and bad. It's a construct. Good and bad is only a construct of what we label things. Exactly. It is just not.
But the thing is at the end of the day, the majority of us don't want to express the darkness. Yeah. We don't want to see any of that. We don't want to look at any of that. We don't.
Well, it's scary, right? Because
it's scary, but it's also a part of us that we need to integrate. Because, so right now we're seeing a lot of this out in the world right now. We're seeing a lot of we're seeing racism. We're seeing all of the injustice. We're seeing slavery. We're seeing human trafficking. We're seeing children, pedophilia, all of this stuff that's going on here. Then, of course, you're seeing, as usual, we see murders all the time on
and
TV.
We are outraged by it.
Right.
Which is good, right? Because that's that balance. Because we've had all these problems always. There's always been pedophilia.
This is the problem, though. We only want to recognize this as ourselves. And at the end of the day, this belongs to us too. And until we can recognize that we have all of that in us too, and we integrate it and we bring it in and we say, okay, I know that that stuff's there. I know that that's part of who I am. It's not, this version of us is not expressing any of that, but I have the capability. I have the ability to do that. So until I can bring that in,
and you choose not to do it, right? Right.
And until I can integrate it, then we're going to keep having it. We're going to keep having the two polarities. We're going to have this duality. We're going to have it where we still kill each other, where we are horrible humans to each other and to animals and to, you know, the earth and all of these things. Until we integrate all of this and accept that all of it is us and love it and have compassion for it, hold it and integrate it into who we are, until we do that, we're going to keep having the polarity and we're going to keep having the duality, and we're going to keep having people believe that they are separate from each other and they're separate from God. We're not. So
yeah, it's interesting, you know, when I think about where we are and what is happening, I feel that, you know, we used to, our lives used to be, it used to be normal to murder, it used to be normal to rape. It used all these things that are now outraging us, that we are seeing and accepting that we're seeing that, and we accepting that that's dark. I think it kind of brings us into that balance, because before it was hidden and prohibited to talk about, but yet it was there, right? And there was this kind of a morality of like only good prevails. And I think now, whereas I really believe that we are moving toward the age where, like you said, it's just kind of coming together to people understand. I think it's a good thing that we are discussing these big problems on a global level, and we are outraged by these things. And I really love too is that, to me, what it's seeing is that as this all these problems are becoming obvious, because you see, like when they're hidden, it's so hard to deconstruct it, but we can deconstruct it on a global level if it's so highlighted and it's up here, because it's obviously right here. And when I look at how we're moving toward that, and then when I think about the connectivity, the ability for us to be able to have these tools, I mean, think about it, you know, 10 years, well, okay, so I'm 40, so let's say 18 years ago, only 18 years ago, if I talked about the expanded consciousness, if I talked about like my meditation and my out of body experiences and like all this energy, and, you know, I'll tell you the truth, until 30, I was really I had to narrow down and really 35 things that I am communicating with people, because I would have been burned as a witch 200 years ago, like, totally burned, right? That's all. But now I look at it and there's all these tools and then the YouTube and all. And when you look at people who are kind of getting traction and attention, a lot of expanded consciousness leaders are arriving into the space globally. All these tools are available, and I think they kind of are bringing it together. And to me, like you said, the plant medicine, the availability, I think it's a natural evolution for Earth to reliving, kind of to allow us to heal ourselves and to express the energy of Earth and co-create. Like you said, you know, you co-create with Keith and with all your network, because you know you cannot do everything. And so when you learn that other people are amazing at that one thing, and sure, hypothetically, you think that if you were micromanaging, you could do better, but you naturally do something better. And that's what co-creation is, that beauty of that integration. And what I love about our bodies, Michelle, is that we are the plant medicine.
Yeah.
You have endogenously. And for those of you who do not know what endogenous means, it means inside your body production. That means you didn't eat it or drink it. It's produced internally. And so things like DMT, which is an active ingredient in the plant medicine, it actually is in your lungs, right? And your brain produces, I mean, your chemical soup is so delicious internally. You just have to understand how to trigger it. And I think that that's kind of like a really great way to get into that space, go and do the alkaline breathing, or go to YouTube and see DMT breathing. And it looks weird, okay? It looks really weird. But
I was going to say, well, this is the thing. A lot of people probably don't even know this, but DMT is called the God molecule, and it is something that we produce ourselves. So this is our direct connection to God. So it's produced in our pineal glands and throughout our body. And so the thing is that a lot of people would look at a lot of this stuff and go, oh, that's drugs, but this is the thing. Your body is made up of these chemicals. This is a chemical hormonal thing in your body. So you getting access to this, or you using this as the means, you don't have to use it.
It's your internal design. You're designed to use it. Right.
You can do this all on your own without taking anything. The thing is that it takes a much harder time for people to get there until they've really mastered the art of breath work, of meditation, of doing all of these things. These are all systems that can be used to get to the same place. It's a lot of this other stuff is a boost in getting people there. So, and the other part of it too is that a lot of us, our pineal glands are blocked simply because of all of the chemicals, of all the toxins in our foods, the toxins in the runoff, in the environment, the chemtrails, all of these things all intentionally block our pineal gland and calcify it. And so when you have a calcified or a blocked pineal gland, you have a very difficult time reaching that place where you have direct connection to God.
Interesting. So we pineal gland, so the biggest trigger actually is in your lungs, and it goes through a stress response. So that's why, like, your 3-step DMT breathing or alkaline breathing, people like to call it, that don't want to call it DMT, but it's just endogenous chemical. Basically, what happens is that when you exhale, right, and you hold your breath, it allows and let all the oxygen kind of exit your body. What ends up happening is that this chemical, and it's called stress response, right? But you're not stressing out. It basically starts searching for oxygen in your body, and it's kind of squeezes everything out. And if you hold, when you rapidly inhale, it releases enormous amounts of DMT through your lungs, because it's like that umbrella that basically kind of sucks it in and saturates. And what happens is that because it holds in your lungs, and when you're just regularly breathing, you're not accessing it, so you're releasing more of it during dream. That's what keeps you in bed. That's what gives you all the the lucidity and all that fun stuff. But during day, you kind of in conscious awareness, you don't access it through the lungs. And so this allows it just to pump into your brain. So I highly recommend doing it. It's something that I like as a daily thing, on and off. I'm a cyclist. I do cycles. I kind of, as I walk, I meditate, but sometimes I just kind of go in, and I'll go into like 2-hour meditation every single day. I don't know, finding something, right? So like, it's always wherever. But I think so, as above, so beyond. I think that we are, we're here and we are interconnected, and the world is a beautiful place, and it is hard. And to you who is having really hard time, know that it's natural and it's okay. And you can help yourself by looking at positive things. And I'm not saying good things, because now we're judging, more judgmental. Positive things, like look at a happy song, look at a happy picture, something that makes you feel good. If you're looking at the sunset and you're feeling guilty, at the picture of a Tulum, and you're feeling guilty that you can't go, like maybe listen to a happy song, and then look at the sunrise, get yourself into that. And then remember too, is that our world right now is overpopulated with information. In the end of the day, your now moment in a positive state of harmony, if you know that you have the food to eat right now. You have the roof over your head right now. And actually, if you think about it and you don't think about the future, you're feeling like you're fine. If you're fine right now, just allow yourself to be in that moment, and then maybe watch a positive movie, or if you watch movies, or watch a comedy that does not hurt somebody, right? I don't know. Watch Gaia. I love Gaia.
I
Watch
love that.
It's just like so good, so good. I love Gaia.
So awesome. Yeah. It's all positive and uplifting, and it does a lot of good. So yeah.
Yeah, and follow Michelle. Follow Michelle. See what she does. See what the movement they have. You know, there's a whole tribe of people, and I'm by tribe. I don't mean like a tiny little 10 people. I mean hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. And I think when we connect those that are connected by association and kind of all the networks, there are millions of people that are actively contributing their life to bettering your life and to bringing conscious approach of life and valuing your life. And so give them by taking the steps toward healing yourself. Go and deconstruct some garbage, throw it away, and start loving yourself.
Right. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So my last question is, where do you see us in 25 years? So 2045, quarter century past. You look around, what is the reality that you see?
I see us, I see humanity ascended to the next dimension. I don't see us here anymore. We will finally learn that we get to bring heaven here. Because all along we believed that heaven was somewhere else, and heaven is here because we choose to bring it here instead of bringing hell here. Because we can bring hell here, and we do that every day.
In hell for quite a long.
Yeah, we've been doing the hell thing for a long time. We've been doing the wars and the rape and the social injustice, the racism, all of that stuff. We've been doing all the hell here. And we don't have to do that anymore. And we're going to learn as humans, we don't need to do that, and that we get to bring heaven here, and we will have heaven here. So that's where I believe we will be, and we will be ascended, that we will have, all of humanity will be ascended into the next dimension. And with this reality as we know it will no longer exist.
And so be it. And for you, dear viewers, who do not know what being in different dimension means, it means the state of consciousness. It means that we shift our consciousness to a point to where we can live in a now moment, where we can co-create, where we empower each other to better each other's lives, and where we live in a global interconnected society where we express our earth through health and diversity and building things that benefit and are sustainable for many, many generations forward. So, Michelle.
One thing I'm going to say though, I'm going to take out there is that we will not see diversity anymore. We will just.
But you see diversity. You think diversity is. So when I say diversity, it means that it's like when farming, you need to have a diversity, like to have a healthy farm.
Yeah, I just want people to know that as humanity, we will no longer see the diversity.
Right, each other's differences. Right.
We will not see differences anymore because we will finally know we're all connected, and we will finally see each other as an expression of each other, and we will stop all of the stuff that causes harm now, like the racial.
Those are biased to what we are talking. Right. When I think about diversity, I think a healthy living, interconnecting through trees and life and animals and plants and each other, and really being a real ecosystem, because ecosystem, the things in the water, the things in air, the space, the inner being. To me, it's like the layers of multi-diversity. It's kind of multi-universes, if you want. It's not
definitely the multiverses. Totally
right. Okay.
Yeah, we just won't see differences in each other anymore. We will see each other as an expression of each other finally for the first time. that's where we will be.
We shall have a follow-up talk in 25 years. Yes, we will.
Sounds good to me. Okay.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you. I hope we see each other soon in person, since both of us in our favorite city in the whole wide world, Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Best city in the world, still was and still is, I think. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you, viewers. See you soon.